This week's festive edition of Towncast Pembroke Dock, we'll be looking back at what the town centre used to be like, what Christmas shopping in the town centre used to include. We'll have a little look at all the sports results, and we'll go, wouldn't it be nice to have a Christmas fair in Pembroke Dock? Let's get on with the show.
Get strong.
Hello and welcome to a festive edition of the Tankette for Pembroke Dock for this week. You can see I've got my hat, I've got my sparkly. I can't find a non-sparkly hat, so I've got a sparkly hat and my festive jumper, and we're all ready to rock for the festive period. So I'm hoping you are too. Um, Apologies for I'm just gonna stop promising to do shows because the last couple of weeks has been absolutely insane with work and birthdays and time away and kids and all of those kind of things. So this will be the last show of 2025. We'll be back in 2026, hopefully with the new presenters. Um, so yeah, it's gone really, really quick this year. The last month had just gone absolutely flown by. So yeah, what have we got in terms of news and events and what most of the Christmas events have kind of happened now, but what I'm going to try and do is share them on social media. Um, More about the New Year's ones. I was going to try and do a New Year's special. If I get time, I'll do one just here where to go for New Year's, but it'll probably just be sharing it on socials. So yeah, that's where most of the events that are around at the minute. There is, a couple of things. There's PCC car parks are now free for weekends. So Saturday and Sunday parking is free. Make the most of that while you can, but check that it is a PCC car park and not owned by somebody else. Um, Speed cameras are out at Christmas because they always are. So, let's make no bones about it. The majority of our area is a 20 mile an hour zone. You've got no need to be more than 28 mile an hour from, if you come across the top road, as soon as you get to the cricket club, you go into a 20. If you're coming into Bush Street, as soon as you come off Ferry Lane, you're in a 20. If you're coming in London Road, you're in a 20 before you get to Tesco's. And if you're coming from Lanyon, you're in a 20 as you pass the roadworks. So, not the roadworks, with the building. So everywhere past that is a 20, guys. And stay safe over Christmas. It doesn't matter. A very wise person said to me a few years ago, do you know what? I'd much rather you turned up 5 minutes late and in one piece than never turning up at all. And it really, really impacted with me just how true that statement is. So yeah, take your time. Tell your boss you're 5 minutes late, but everywhere inside Pembroke Dock is a 20. And why is that important? It's the weather is horrendous at the minute. Mornings are dark, evenings are darker, sunsets a lot earlier. Sunsets at the minute are really, really bright with a clear sky, are really, really piercing. So everyone's in a rush. Everyone's in a rush. So just take your time and just go, do you know what? It just takes one small child to belt across the road, and the difference between 20 and 30 is massive. So yeah, police speed checks are out. The standard breathalyzer tests are out as well. Those will be dotted around the place. So yeah, just have that common sense around Christmas is the message this year. Okay, so let's take a look at I remember. So I wanted to do this a while ago. I wanted to do this as I remember a while ago about the old shops that we used to have in the town centre. And I've kind of peppered these in as we've done it through the year, sort of a thing. Um, but I want the places I remember doing Christmas shopping. Okay, so your food shop. So before Tesco's came, yeah. So we imagine Tesco's is still a hole in the ground, a quarry where they dug stuff out for Valero, not Valero, for Texaco's. It wasn't. Yeah. So Tesco's doesn't exist. B&M doesn't exist. It's not even Focus. It's a hole in the ground. Okay, so so we used to have a quick save, but now what is Home Bargains is what it is now, and the old co-op. So before Asda's was Asda's, it was a co-op, but before that, it used to be in the car park, which is over in the corner, underneath the job centre. So that used to be our main shop between those two. Those were your main shop. Now, when you used to go into Quick Save, only half of that site used to be the supermarket. And the other half would be, it used to have an off license where you'd go and get your beer because Quick Save didn't sell beer. It used to have a veg stall, a fruit and veg area, because QuickSave didn't used to. QuickSave just did fresh frozen tins, home stuff, end of it. So it didn't have the yeah fruit and veg and things like that. So you say that now, and I said, well, I don't understand. It did have a bakery. There was a bakery there as well. So if you walked in that bottom end, yeah, he used to have a there was a bakery with a really noisy slicing machine. Like, it was a really I remember sitting there waiting and so my mum would pay for the bread and I'd have to wait for the bread to be sliced and she'd go and do the veg and you're sitting there waiting for this sodding machine to sounded like a chainsaw cutting your bread. So and there used to be a clothes store down the bottom as well, I remember, and then like a card shop, and it used to be really weird. Where you look at it now and go, right, okay, what a modern supermarket looks like now, and you go, why was that all separated? And then it used to have security gates to go in so that you couldn't get out. Once you were in, you were in. You had to go all the way around and come out through the till. Um, Yeah, a little spinny, roundy one like that and you used to have to push your trolley through a little, so you'd have your flaps like that, and your trolley would go through, and then you couldn't get it back out. So yeah, that was quick save, and the co-op was weird because again, the alcohol bit was separated. You used to have to go through the tills, and then your alcohol bit would be behind it. I remember buying my first beer from there when I was probably underage. But um, yeah, just I've been so excited with myself that I just gone and bought 4 pack of beer. So really, really weird stuff. But that used to be a really so I think they had fruit and veg as part of that, and then at the back, I think they had their I don't think they had a bakery, but I think they had like a meat section at the back as well, and you could get like a thing of ham sliced. It just weird stuff that you remember from there. And the bit that we all used to do with a co-op was when you were walking up into town and they had a um so you had the co-op was at the bottom of the hill and so the co-op's here and you're walking up a hill and there was a slope with like sticky outy really really dangerous stones sticking out and the trick was you had to there was a route that you could run up, but you weren't allowed to hold on to the railings because that was you. If you were practicing, if you were young, if you were like 5 or 6, maybe 7, you could get away with holding on to the railings, but otherwise you had to kind of go up there without using the railings and not fall. So that was the challenge getting up to there. I think as you went up, you get so obviously you've got Parfit's home stores on the right, and that's just been there forever. And I remember getting originally it was just carpets. You know, you got your rugs, you got your bathroom, your bedroom stuff, and all of that kind of stuff. But I remember my mum getting a rug from there and having to carry this sodden rug home, a massive rug. So, yeah, you got the card shop. What is now the job centre, and that used to be was that the clothes co-op or the home co-op? I think I used to be the home co-op, but I remember going in there one year and they did a really, really fancy um, Father Christmas grotto thing. but it wasn't just a grotto. You had to walk through, and then you met Father Christmas at the end. So, yeah, that was a really that was a massive shop, massive shop. And then you have Tallett's on the corner, what's now the coffee shop. So that used to be your fruit and veg. That was your fruit and veg shop, and opposite that, what's now uh, the betting shop, that used to be the hardware shop. I think the hardware shop used to go all the way back through to the card shop. I think the card shop used to be part of that, and you could because you could walk in through the back and then go out. But you used to get loads of stuff from there. Christmas time, pots, pans, knives, forks, Christmas decorations you get in there. But if you were serious about your Christmas decorations, if you're proper serious about your Christmas decorations, you went to Woolies. You had to go to Woolies because the amount of tinsel that used to come out of Woolies was absolutely obscene. To be the jewelers next door, yeah, Rembrandt's in between the two, wouldn't it? And then now, my mother used to be obsessed with what we used to call tree snot. Um, so like little bit, not tinsel on like a string, but like tinsel that you just kind of draped over the tree, and it like sparkling. It's meant to look like icicles and stuff like that. Tree snot, we used to call it, because it looked like somebody sneezed on your tree and it just dripping everywhere. I remember having to take it off the tree and store it. I mean, it was like £1 for like 1,000 bloody bits of tinsel, and we used to have to store it year on year because that's just what you did. I know it was a massive job that was. Um, and then but up the top, if you went up by Tallett's, if you went left from Tallett's, you used to have Dewhurst the butchers, and he would have like proper turkeys. Like he'd be hanging I remember walking in there once, and there were turkeys hanging up that hadn't been finished. And you think of that now, that's absolutely insane. That it was basically feet, bare skin, a head hanging down, and two wings hanging off and the wings still had feathers on because they were about to be cut off, and the feet were about to be cut off, and the head was about to be cut off, and but they were just hanging there in at the back of the butchers, ready to be butchered. You know, and yeah, carrying a turkey home from there, and it was proper heavy, proper heavy. You had to order it. You had to order it back in those days, and you'd order all of your stuff, but you had to get your order in like a couple of weeks before. So I think his name was Gordon. He would go and get everything, and you'd have this big, massive slab of meat to take home for for Christmas. It's so yeah, those are the shops around. And then there was the clothes show co-op, which was further. I think that's a betting shop as well. No, it used to be the betting shop. Or yeah, so that was further down there. And a WH Smith down the bottom, opposite what used to be Barclays, used to have WH Smith, and that was there. So you'd get a lot of your cards back then. The whole shop would just be cards. And then the card shop opened, and it really hit WH Smith, and they didn't have so many cards. But then they brought in books, and you could actually buy books from somewhere. And then opposite that, before it was a pub, we used to have a toy shop, and the Nutshell. Oh my God, the Nutshell. Further up the hill, if you were walking up towards the bottom of Park Street, up towards Queen Street, the Nutshell. Now, kids nowadays won't remember the Nutshell because that's. But there's a certain amount of us that just every week would be the Nutshell because you had a toy shop first, and then you had like a gift shop, and then the card bit, or with the card. And I remember the toy shop. I just remember the toy shop because we used to have two toy shops in Pembroke Dock. you know, there was the Nutshell, and then there was the toy shop down the bottom of the road. And yeah, you would just kind of go between the two and see who had the best toys. So and Woolies, and they sold toys in Woolies. We used to have effectively three places in Pembroke Dock where we used to buy toys from before the internet came along and before Toys R Us. For some reason, Toys R Us really hammered those toy shops, and the closest Toys R Us was in Swansea. So yeah, what shops am I missing? I know there were, when we did the snow thing, people were talking about Hunt's the Bakers. But there were other bakeries. There's Shaw House Bakery, which is now a cafe, I think. But it used to make its own bread. The bit behind it, which is now Big Brum's Storage, I think, that used to be the bakery that used to, and the smell that used to come out of there in the morning was fantastic. Used to walk past it to go to school, and you get all that fresh bread smell. So you used to have Hunt's the Bakers as well, and I think there was a third bakery, but I can't remember where or what it was. Used to have Mr. Roberts at the top of the road there at bottom of Park Street. Get this right. Mr. Roberts was a men's uh, clothes shop. Yeah. So not just a clothes shop, but a men's clothes shop. So Mr. Roberts now just does hire, suit hire, and all of that. But he used to be the amount of stuff I got from Mr. Roberts when I was a young, dapper young man. But yeah. So what else am I? There used to be an off license, didn't it? There was an off license where Central Motors are as well. So what am I missing? What am I missing? Remind me what I'm missing. I must be missing a couple. I must be missing a few. I remember the off license. So remind me. Yeah. So over to you. What am I missing? There must have been some up on Diamond Street slash Dimmond Street. We still haven't had that debate as a podcast, but maybe we'll save that for the new year. Diamond Street versus Dimmond Street. Um, yeah, we. What shops am I missing? I must have because they would have come and gone and come and gone over the time. Merrick Street on its own. Clark's on the corners, I guess, and then sports shop, and there's sports time. Was it sports time? Remind me, tell me if that was sports time. The music shop over the top. I used to get my records of it when it was at the top of the road. Um, what other shops do you remember from when you were small? There will be some. There will be some. I remember the TV shop, the Granada shop we used to rent your televisions from, the gas shop next to St. John's Church, which is now houses. Yeah, tell me what you remember. Tell me what you remember. And if you've got any photos, any old photos of those shops, then yeah, post them on our face. I'll put some things up about old photos of Pembroke Dock because yeah, there must have been. The more you think of it, it's really, really weird. The more you think of it, the more you kind of remember just walking downtown and oh, this shop was there and that shop was there and things like that. So yeah, fine fair. So what's now Robinson's was fine fair and Summerfield. So we went as a fine fair of Summerfield family. We tended to do co-op and quick save. So, but I do remember Fine Fair being there. That was like where you went to as an emergency if what you needed. If the co-op had run out of cream at Christmas, then you went to Fine Fair. So, yeah. But share your memories of what Pembroke Dock used to have, what shops we used to have in town. Because it would be great. It'd be great to but don't forget to put a timestamp with them. Roughly when did we have that? Because the nutshell, when did the nutshell close? That must have been was that millennium? Was it around the millennium? Was it gosh, that's good. What? Okay, when did the nutshell close? Who was the last customer in the nutshell? Because that used to be, the shop to go to for all of your stuff. So yeah, chip in with that one. When did they go close? God, this is going to start me. Oh, this is going to bug me now. This is absolutely going to bug me on that one. Okay, right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Before I move on, as always, I am looking for people to come and have conversation with me about Pembroke Dock, their memories of Pembroke Dock, issues going on in the dock, and what could be in the dock. So if you're sitting there, age is not a capability is not an issue. I can show you how to work Zoom. You can be 20, you can be 120. It doesn't matter as long as you've got an opinion about what's going on in the dock, and you're a nice person and you care about the dock. Then drop me a line. Let's get you on because yeah, it would be really nice to start the new year with a team of presenters rather than just me talking to myself, which raises eyebrows. I'll be honest with you, it does. It raises eyebrows. Okay, let's um, let's let's quickly move on to wouldn't it be nice? Because I had this idea. I did. I was away for the weekend, and uh, so it's my birthday. And we went away, family, for the weekend. And we went up to Ludlow. They had a really, really nice market in the the town centre up there. I just thought, you know what, wouldn't it be nice if we had something somewhere in Pembroke Dock that we could kind of like multi-use space it. It would be a market. It would be a bandstand, a town bandstand. It would be a, I don't know, it would be event centre. You know, you look at you look at behind it, the car park behind Asda, which does have a bandstand and is a massive space and is free parking, which is always great. You look at that space and you go, we could do some. If we had, and this, I think this is the problem, is that is like outside of the town centre. If we had a space in the town centre where we could have a weekly market, yeah. Now I know we've got the one the Friday market in over by the dockyard, yeah, in the market. What used to that whole building at one point used to be the market, but I think if it was in the town centre, yeah, I think it would be so much more successful. More people would come in. They'd use the other shops. It would. I just like, I start thinking about stuff, and then I go, we could really make something special happen there. So that's my challenge for 2026. Can we make something special happen in Pembroke Dock Town Centre? All of us together. It's going to take 50 or 60 of us to make something special happen in there. I think at the minute, with the too many individuals, I'll put my hand up and I'll go, I want to do this. The Woolies building, I've said a couple of times, turning that into a town centre hub, market, evening place, live music venue, pop-up cinema, pop-up shops, whatever. Yeah. That could be awesome. That could be all absolutely, and it would breathe life back into the town centre. It would bring people into that town centre again and really say to people, we can, as a town centre, we're prepared to spend our money locally rather than with Amazon and a guy who doesn't pay any tax in the UK and takes all of our money and uses it to take his friends to outer space. Or you're going to use it with somebody, spend an extra quid, an extra 2 quid with somebody in the town centre who will pay his tax locally or her tax locally, will send their kids to the same school as your kids, and actually any profits from that will be used to make that building better and put on a few bits of, they might sponsor your kids' football team. They might sponsor your rugby tour to England or somewhere. Yeah, that's the difference. That's what spending money locally does. It all eventually it all kind of helps to go round. Yeah, that it's so I'm an economist, so I'm going to bore you for a second. Okay, think of it as a circle. Everybody in the town all spends money, and this person spends with there, and they spend with there, and they spend with there, and they spend with there. The more money that goes around and the faster it goes around, the bigger the circle is. The bigger the circle is, the more people are in there, the more people are attracted to that circle, the more people are attracted to it, the more money that goes around, the more money in your pocket, the more money you can give to other people in that circle. That's how a town centre should work. Okay. So, um, yeah, my wouldn't it be nice for 2026? Wouldn't it be nice to do something special in our town centre? Um, I would love to be in a position next year to bring like the Pembrokeshire Christmas Fair. As for those of you that have been to a winter wonderland in Swansea or Cardiff or you want a big cities, something like that on maybe on a smaller scale, but regular. Yeah, that you can put it there and you go, okay, maybe that car park behind us that is the Pembrokeshire um, winter wonderland with a couple of fair rides, a couple of eateries, a couple of drinkeries, a couple of Christmas stalls, a bandstand with a brass band playing, and a pop up movie with Christmas films playing. A bit of creativity, a bit of imagination. We could really do something that would really put Pembroke Dock on the map as a good place to be. And it would change people's perception of us massively. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna leave that one there because trust me, and my wife will vouch for this. I will talk for hours and hours on what we could do with a bit of cash and a bit of creativity. But so I'm gonna leave that one there. On that. What I will say is, please do like our social medias. Please share our social media posts. There's been a huge interest in our social media over the last couple of weeks. So big thank you from me on those. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. I say we are in the process of growing, Tenby, Milford, Haverfordwest, Fishguard, Saundersfoot, all of these places will have their own towncasts. If I can get people involved to do the Pembroke Dock one, Pembroke Dock is where my heart is. So if I can get people involved to do that, I'll always be a part of the Pembroke Dock Towncast. But I do want to go and get these other towncasts up and running and really do so. I was saying to somebody the other day, I was explaining to somebody about the potential of Pembrokeshire. Yeah, so I talk to a lot of businesses in what I do in my work. So I was talking to somebody and saying that I run podcasts. So I run rugby podcasts for South Africa, for America, for Ireland, Scotland. I run them all from this screen that I'm looking at now. And I run all of them from Pembroke. Just me. And I run podcasts for places around the world that we're interviewing international players in South Africa. We're talking to international rugby coaches in America, but we're running it all out of Pembroke. That is mind blowing on what we can do and how we can do it if we've got the ambition and the determination. And I do that part time, same as I do this. So come and be a part of Towncast with me on Towncast Pembroke Dock, or share and subscribe to our YouTube channel and tell your friends about it because I'm absolutely 100% certain that this could be massive and Pembroke Dock is our first one. Okay, let's move on. Let's do a little bit of sport. So, as you probably appreciate with the weather, it's been a little bit of a weird one over the last couple of weeks. So we'll start with the rugby. The rugby. So this was the fixture that I was talking about last time I was on, which was Quins versus Langham. See, that's a lot closer than what I would have expected, but the Quins come out of it with a win, and that's the key bit at this point of the season. 26-24 against Langham should have been more comfortable, but a win is a win. Then you look at this one, so 40 points to 21 win against Llanybother, and you go, okay, we're heading in the right direction. Then you look at the table, right? Then you look at the table and you look at this and you go, 8 games played, 6 games won, One of the games lost was first game of the season against Pembroke. We'll talk about that in a minute. 30 points, and then you've got Ponteberem. Okay, Ponteberem have got a game in hand, haven't lost yet, but 33 points. They are within touching distance. Yeah, they are at a point where actually a couple of results going our way, and we're top of the table. So this is where this weekend starts getting tasty. Okay, this is massive. Quins versus Pembroke, 2:30, 20th of December. What a way to kick off your Christmas. Okay. Get yourself down to even if you've never watched the Quins before, if you just care about the town, get yourself down to the Quins. Everybody knows where the Quins is. Okay. Everybody's driven past the Quins, walked past the Quins, whatever. Get yourself down to the Quins and cheer the boys. Yeah, because believe me, I've played in loads of these fixtures, Quins against Pembroke. Okay. When you come down those steps and you start walking out onto that pitch, there's a crackle. You can hear like a crackle. You can hear a couple of distinct voices that you might pick out. And then that crackle becomes like a buzz, a bit of and it gives you a tingle on the back of your neck that just it gives you those first 5-10 minutes is intense. It is insane. There will be fights, guarantee it. Yeah, I don't care how professional we try to make the game nowadays. Quins versus Pembroke, there are going to be fights. Don't cheer them; it just encourages them. But this is the game that the boys will be targeting and going. We need to win this one. Okay, we need to win this one. And I'll be absolute bang up front with you. I've just said exactly the same on the Pembroke podcast as well. I cannot stress to people how important this game is. So, whether you're a Pembroke supporter, whether you're a Quinn supporter, get yourself down there, get a beer out of the clubhouse, and make this a part of your Christmas tradition. The fact that it is so close to Christmas just adds another little level to it that makes it nice. Um, yeah, get yourself down there and support the boys because this is going to be immense. I doubt I'll be back on before January as well. So the Quins host Newcastle Emerald Dragons again on 3rd of January. I should be back on before then, before the 10th of January. But this game here, Quins versus Ponteberem, is if the Quins beat Pembroke, okay, we're in a good place. They really should beat Newcastle Emerald Dragons. They're mid-table, lost 1-3, lost 2. They should really take them apart, especially this time of year. Okay. And then you go Ponteberem, top of the table. This is the one. This is the game. So 2 good wins before then, and they're going to go into there feeling pretty good. They're going to be feeling good. Crummick can do them a favour and soften them up a little the week before, but that's the game for the Quins to look at. Ponteberem against the Quins, 10th of January. After that game, 11th of January, we'll have a good idea where the Quins are going to finish at the end of the season because it's all in their hands after that. If they can beat Ponteberem, then it's a really, really good run into the end of the season. Okay, let's go do a little bit of football. Like I say, every week, if you've got anything else that you would like me to cover, netball, snooker, hockey, whatever it is, send me your results or just point me in a place where I can find your results, and I will be happy to give you a shout out on the podcast. Okay, let's start with Division 1. You can probably see straight away that there's a lot of fixtures being interrupted, and I'll tell you straight away, we've got no fixtures to discuss for going forward. So it's just results, and we'll have a look at the table. Okay. So last couple of weeks, Carew lost 5-2 in Moncton. Penna Robbins lost 5-4 at Clarbeston Road. That's a tough one to take, that is. Losing 5-4. That's a rough one. Penna Robbins, week before, beat Carew 2-0 on that one. Yeah, think that was no. So before that, they'd lost 4-2 at Narberth. Where does that put everyone in the table? So Hake in the top, played 12, won 11, 33 points. So Penn and Robbins just below mid-table, 14 games played, only 4 wins, 16 points. Carew, I don't know why Kilgetty only played 9 games. Um, they haven't won yet. That may be they haven't been able to field a team, in which case Carew, can start looking up instead of down. But Carew, one off the bottom, we're starting to get an idea of who's in trouble, who's looking up, who's looking down. Penn and Robbins, 16 points. You think, okay, but realistically, let me see, 1, 2, 3 teams above them are within 1 win, you know. So a decent win for them, and they will leapfrog. The issue I think we've got with everyone else, St Ishmael's have got 4 games in hand on Penn and Robbins. Tenby have got 3 games in hand. It's going to be interesting. Sometimes that works in your favour, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, Division 2. Let's see, Division 2. I don't think I've got anything to report there. Week before, nothing really to report. I don't think we've got that many teams involved in Division 2, have we? No, we've not got Kiru reserves. There we go, bottom of the table. Let's ignore that. And let's have a look in Division 3. Okay. Division 3, Penn and Robbins second, took a bit of a pasting off Broadhaven, 7-1 loss there. Lorraine beat Clarbeston Road Reserves 3-0, and Pembroke Borough. This game for me, I'm really disappointed with. This is a top of the table clash. Top of the table clash. Tenby seconds, and we lost 10-2. 10-2. That's not top of the table, boys. That's something's gone wrong with it. Either a whole load of Tenby firsts have dropped down, in which case, not really the spirit of what we're doing. But yeah, to ship 10 goals in 1 week is shocking. It still leaves us in second place. We are now, instead of, if you do that 3-point swing the other way, that should be 29 and we should be 29. That could be level. So there's now a 6-point gap. But it's the goal difference there, Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I think I've dwelled on it more than enough already. Yeah, so Penn and Robin seconds, blah, 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 blah. Oh, where are the seconds in the table? I think, yeah, one off the bottom. It's not a great table to look at for us, I'll be honest. Okay, let's have a look at Division 4, see if Division 4 gets any happier on that one. So St. Florence beat Fishguard Sports 3-1. Manapia lost to Newport Tigers. Yeah, not really a massive amount of interest in Division 4. Milford United, Milford Athletic, Nayland, Hundleton, Johnston. Okay, let's move on to Division 5. I think we've got a couple of reserves in Division 5. So, yeah, Pembroke Borough reserves beat Kilgetty thirds 2-1 there. And then the week before, the reserves beat Narberth reserves 7-3. So where does that leave us in the table? Moved up a couple of places, which is great. To fourth in the table, 1, 2, 3, fourth in the table, 27 points. But again, you look at who's above us, St. Clair's and Narberth, and they're both 1 point above us. So there's a lot of potential there for the end of the season on that. Okay, like I said, there's no fixtures to look forward to. So if you have got any other sports results that you want me to cover, please do send them in. So I am going to finish the year and finish this week's pod with a thank you to everyone who has commented, shared, subscribed, sent us stories in, asked questions for the pod, because it does It does make a massive difference. I say I would really like to have somebody else, a couple of people doing this with me because it can get quite difficult through the year, especially, sometimes you get through the year and you've got loads of other stuff going on, and just having somebody else that can give you a hand is a massive difference. So just want to thank everybody that's given me uh the encouragement to carry on doing what it'd been very easy to quit. Yes, I'll be honest with you, halfway through the year. But a couple of comments and a couple of people saying thank you, and a couple of people um commenting on what we've done, it makes a massive difference. So genuinely, my heart says thank you to everyone that has done that through the year. It does make a massive difference. Um, there are loads of stuff coming in the new year. What I am going to try and do over Christmas, and again, I'm going to stop promising to do things and start saying I'm going to try and do this. So I'm going to try and do a town quiz, just to keep people active over Christmas more than anything. So it'll be some stuff like, where is this? Those weird photo bits. There'll be a bit in there about famous people from the dock. There are more famous people from the dock than you give yourself credit for. And then a little bit of trivia about the Pembroke dock. When did this happen? When did that happen? Those kind of things. So keep your eye on those on social media over Christmas. If I can get it out, I will. If not, not to worry, we'll do it next year. So, all that's left for me to say is I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a prosperous New Year. I hope that you have a safe and enjoyable festive period. And I shall see you again in the new year with more of the same. And until then, let's make Pembroke Dock proud. All the very best. Happy New Year, Christmas. Be strong. Strong.